Part 1. I never thought my life could fall apart so completely. 7 years of marriage, shattered in an instant. 7 years of trust, burned to ashes by one unforgivable betrayal. Sarah, the woman I gave everything to, the woman I built my future around, destroyed me. And I'm not sure I'll ever recover. We were the perfect couple. At least, that's what everyone thought. I loved her more than I knew was possible, and I believed she loved me just as fiercely. We were planning for the future, dreaming of starting a family, building a life that seemed almost too good to be true. I never saw it coming. Not once did I suspect she was capable of such cruelty. I trusted her with my heart, my soul, my everything. I believed every lie, every excuse, every smile. I was a fool. A pathetic, blind fool. It started small. The little things that didn't add up. She became distant, distracted. Her phone was always in her hand, her eyes lighting up with every text. When I asked who she was talking to, she would laugh it off, a practiced smile on her lips. Just work stuff, she'd say, giving me a quick kiss before slipping away. And like an idiot, I believed her. But the lies grew. She started coming home late, her excuses too perfect, too rehearsed. I had to stay late for a project. I grabbed drinks with the team. I went to the gym after work. It was always something, always a reason she couldn't be with me. I tried to ignore the doubts, to trust her like I always had. But the nights were the worst. She would slip into bed beside me, her back turned, her body stiff and cold. When I reached for her, she'd pull away, murmuring that she was tired, stressed, not in the mood. I convinced myself it was just a phase, that she was overwhelmed with work, that things would get better. But they didn't. They only got worse. I remember the night I found out. The night that changed everything. She was in the shower, her phone buzzing on the nightstand. I glanced at the screen, my heart stopping when I saw the message. I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? I felt like the floor had fallen out from under me. My hands were shaking as I picked up the phone, my stomach twisting into knots. The message was from someone named M. Just one letter, but it was enough to destroy my entire world. My mind went blank, my heart pounding as I stared at the screen, rereading the message over and over. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't believe what I was seeing. Sarah was cheating on me. My wife, the woman I trusted more than anyone, was lying to my face, giving herself to someone else. I heard the shower turn off, the sound of the curtain sliding open. Panic surged through me. I dropped the phone back on the nightstand and stumbled out of the room, my body trembling. I felt like I was going to be sick. I barely made it to the bathroom before I started heaving, my entire body rejecting the truth I was being forced to face. I didn't confront her. I was too stunned, too terrified. I went to bed before she finished getting dressed, turning off the lights and pretending to be asleep. I heard her tiptoe into the room, felt the mattress dip as she climbed in beside me. Her scent hit me, a mix of lavender and something else, something unfamiliar. A new perfume, one she never wore around me. I wanted to scream, to shake her awake, to make her admit the truth. But I couldn't. I was paralyzed, trapped between love and hate, hope and despair. I lay there, my heart breaking, my mind spinning. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't live in this nightmare. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, my mind replaying every moment, every conversation, every lie. It all made sense now. The late nights, the distance, the coldness in her touch. She wasn't mine anymore. She was his. The next morning, she kissed me on the cheek, her smile bright and beautiful, her eyes shining with that familiar spark. "I love you," she said, her voice soft and sweet. I wanted to slap her, to scream at her, to throw her out of my life. But I just smiled back, my heart breaking. "I love you too." She walked out the door, her hair bouncing, her laughter echoing through the house. I wanted to chase after her, to catch her in the act, to confront her and that bastard she was sneaking around with. But I couldn't move. I was frozen, paralyzed by the betrayal, by the pain. I stayed home that day, my body numb, my mind spinning. I kept replaying every moment, every conversation, every lie. I was trapped in my own head, tormented by images of her with him, laughing, touching, loving him the way she used to love me. It was torture. I finally snapped. I needed to know the truth, needed to see it with my own eyes. I grabbed my keys and walked out the door, my hands trembling, my heart pounding. I didn't know what I was going to do. But I knew one thing for certain. I was going to find out who Am was. And I was going to destroy him. I followed her that evening, my chest tight, my heart racing. I watched as she laughed with him, touched his arm, leaned in close. I saw her kiss him, her hands wrapped around his neck, her body pressed against his. She was his. She was never mine. I felt my heart shatter, my world crumbling around me. I wanted to confront her, to scream, to rip them apart. But I was frozen, paralyzed by pain and betrayal. I turned and walked away, my body trembling, my vision blurred by tears I refused to shed. I knew then that nothing would ever be the same. My marriage, my life, my love, all of it was a lie. A cruel, twisted lie. And Sarah was the one who destroyed it all. Part 2. I was numb, hollow, broken. I watched my wife give herself to another man, watched her smile, laugh, kiss him like he was her world. Like I never existed. Like our life, our love, our marriage meant nothing to her. I felt my heart shatter, my soul ripped apart, and I couldn't breathe. I was dying, and she didn't even care. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember stumbling through the front door, my legs barely holding me up. I just remember the emptiness, the crushing weight of her betrayal. I collapsed on the floor, my body trembling, my chest aching. I wanted to scream, to cry, to break everything in this house that was supposed to be our home. But I was too numb, too broken. I lay there for hours, my mind spinning, my heart shattered. I kept replaying it in my head, the way she touched him, the way she kissed him, the way she smiled. That smile was supposed to be mine. She was supposed to be mine. But she was his. She was never mine. I heard the door open, her voice echoing through the hallway. Jake? I'm home. I felt my chest tighten, my stomach twisting into knots. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I couldn't face her, couldn't look at her without seeing him. I heard her footsteps, light and graceful, her heels clicking against the floor. She walked into the living room, her smile bright and beautiful, her eyes sparkling with the glow of someone in love. But not with me. Never with me. She looked at me, her face falling. Jake? Are you okay? You look pale. I wanted to scream at her, to throw the truth in her face, to make her suffer the way she was making me suffer. But I was too weak, too broken. I just stared at her, my chest aching, my anger boiling. Yeah, just tired. She smiled, relief washing over her face. You should lie down. I'll make us some dinner. Her voice was sweet, caring, so damn convincing. She was a master of deception, a liar in every sense of the word. I watched her walk away, her figure graceful, her laughter echoing through the house. I hated her. I hated how much I still loved her, how much I still wanted her, even knowing she was his. I was pathetic, weak, a fool. And she knew it. I needed the truth. I needed to hear her say it, to see the look on her face when she realized she was caught. I couldn't keep living this lie, pretending everything was fine. It was destroying me. The next day, I did something I never thought I would do. I hired a private investigator. It felt sick, twisted, wrong. But I needed proof. I needed to know how deep her betrayal went. I needed to know everything. The waiting was torture. Every day felt like an eternity, every moment with her a reminder of her lies. She would smile at me, kiss me on the cheek, tell me she loved me. It made me sick. I wanted to scream, to break something, to make her feel the pain she was inflicting on me. But I stayed silent, playing my part, pretending to be the fool she thought I was. Then, the investigator called. His voice was cold, detached, as he delivered the news. He had followed her, watched her meet him at a hotel on the other side of town. He sent me the photos, clear, undeniable proof of her betrayal. My hands were shaking as I looked at them, my heart shattering all over again. There they were, laughing, touching, kissing. She looked so happy, so alive. I barely recognized her. She was a stranger, a liar, a monster. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone cruel and heartless. I felt my blood boil, my fists clenching. I wanted to destroy him, to rip him apart, to make him pay for stealing my wife. But more than anything, I wanted to destroy her. I wanted her to suffer, to feel the pain she had inflicted on me. I wanted her to lose everything, just like she made me lose everything. That night, I confronted her. I waited for her to come home, my heart pounding, my chest tight. She walked through the door, her smile bright, her eyes sparkling. Hey, babe, she said, leaning in to kiss me. I pulled away, my stomach turning at the thought of where her lips had been. Her face fell, her eyes widening. What's wrong? I threw the photos on the table, my hands trembling, my anger boiling over. Who is he? She looked down, her face going pale as she saw the pictures. Her body went rigid, her hands shaking. I can explain. Don't, I snapped, my voice cold. Don't lie to me. Not anymore. She looked up, her eyes filling with tears. I'm sorry. I never meant. I never wanted to hurt you. I laughed, bitter and hollow. You never wanted to hurt me? You've been lying to me for months, sneaking around behind my back, and you never wanted to hurt me. Her shoulders sagged, her face crumbling. I was stupid. I was selfish. I never meant for it to go this far. I didn't know how to stop. I felt my heart shatter all over again. How long? She hesitated, her voice shaking. A few months. I didn't love him. I never loved him. It was just a distraction. I was lonely. I was lost. I felt my blood boil, my fist clenching. Lonely? I was right here, Sarah. I was always here, loving you, waiting for you. And you threw it all away. For him. She sobbed, her shoulders shaking. I know. I know I ruined everything. I know I don't deserve you, but I love you. I never stopped loving you. I felt my chest tighten, my heart breaking. You don't get to say that. You don't get to pretend you love me after everything you did. You don't get to play the victim. She fell to her knees, her body trembling, her hands reaching out. Please. Jake. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but please, don't leave me, don't walk away. I can't do this without you. I looked down at her, this broken, pathetic woman on the floor, begging for my forgiveness. I used to love her. I used to worship her. But now all I felt was disgust. You already lost me, I said, my voice cold, hollow. The day you chose him, you lost me. I walked away, her sobs echoing through the house. But I didn't look back. I couldn't. If I looked at her, I would break. And I couldn't let her break me again. I left her there, broken, alone, just like she deserved. Part 3. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't. Not after everything she did. Not after seeing her broken on the floor, begging for my forgiveness, pretending to be sorry. I couldn't look at her without feeling sick, without wanting to scream, without seeing him. I drove around aimlessly, my hands gripping the steering wheel, my chest tight, my heart shattered. I was angry, hurt, destroyed. I wanted to forget, to erase her from my life, from my heart, from my soul. But I couldn't. She was everywhere. Every street, every song, every memory was stained with her. I finally pulled into a parking lot, my vision blurred, my hands trembling. I sat there for hours, the silence suffocating me, the pain crushing me. I kept replaying it all in my head, the way she looked at him, the way she kissed him, the way she smiled. She was his. She was never mine. I wanted to hurt her, to make her suffer the way she made me suffer. I wanted her to lose everything, just like I had. I wanted her to feel the pain, the heartbreak, the betrayal. I wanted her to be alone, destroyed, shattered. I knew what I had to do. I went home the next morning, my chest hollow, my heart cold. She was still there, curled up on the couch, her eyes swollen, her face pale. She looked up when I walked in, her body trembling, her lips quivering. Jake. I thought you weren't coming back. I stared at her, my anger boiling, my disgust growing. Don't get comfortable. I'm not staying. Her face crumbled, her body shaking. Please, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can make this right. I'll do anything. Please, don't leave me. I laughed, bitter and cold. You want to fix this? You want me to forgive you? After everything you did? After all the lies, the betrayal, the nights you spent in his arms? She sobbed, her hands reaching out. I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I love you. I never stopped loving you. I stepped back, her touch burning my skin. Don't you dare say that. You don't get to say that after everything you did. You don't get to pretend you love me after you destroyed me. She collapsed to the floor, her body trembling, her sobs echoing through the empty house. Please. Jake. I'll do anything. I'll make this right. Just don't walk away. Don't give up on us. I looked at her, this broken, pathetic woman on the floor, begging for my forgiveness. I used to love her. I used to worship her. But now all I felt was disgust. I'm filing for divorce. Her face went white, her eyes wide with shock. No, please, don't. We can fix this. We can make it work. Please, don't leave me. I felt my chest tighten, my heart breaking all over again. You should have thought of that before you gave yourself to him. You should have thought of that before you destroyed us. She crawled toward me, her body trembling, her hands clutching at my legs. Please. I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. I'll never see him again. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Just don't leave me. I pulled away, my anger boiling over. I don't want you. Not anymore. You disgust me. You're nothing but a liar, a cheater, a fraud, and I want you out of my house. She stared at me, her face crumbling, her body sagging. Your house? This is our home. This is where we built our life, our future. I laughed, bitter and cold. Our future? You destroyed our future the moment you chose him. You destroyed our home, our marriage, our love. This is my house, and I don't want you in it. Pack your things and get out. She sobbed, her body shaking, her eyes wide with horror. Where am I supposed to go? I felt nothing. No sympathy, no pity, no love. She was nothing to me now. I don't care. Go to him. Go to the man you gave yourself to, the man you chose over me. See if he wants you now that you've been exposed for the liar you are. She collapsed to the floor, her body crumbling, her sobs echoing through the house. Please. Jake, don't do this. Don't leave me. I can't do this without you. I can't. I looked down at her, my heart cold, my chest hollow. You should have thought of that before you destroyed me. I turned away, my hands trembling, my body rigid. I heard her cry out, her voice broken, desperate. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. If I looked at her, I would break. And I couldn't let her break me again. I went to the guest room, locking the door behind me, my body shaking. I sank to the floor, my head in my hands, my heart shattered. I wanted to scream, to cry, to break something. But I was numb, hollow, destroyed. She had taken everything from me. She stayed outside the door for hours, her sobs echoing through the empty house. I didn't move, didn't speak, didn't breathe. I just sat there, my body rigid, my heart broken. Eventually, her cries faded, the house falling silent. I heard the front door open, her footsteps fading into the night. She was gone. I thought I would feel relief, peace, something. But all I felt was emptiness. She was gone, and she was never coming back. I had lost her. I had lost everything. I sat there until the sun rose, my body stiff, my chest hollow. I wanted to hate her, to scream at her, to break something. But I was too broken, too shattered. I was nothing. I called my lawyer the next morning, my voice cold, emotionless. I want a divorce. And I don't want her getting a single penny. He agreed, telling me we could go after everything, the house, the accounts, the investments. I wanted to leave her with nothing, to destroy her the way she destroyed me. I wanted her to suffer, to feel the pain, the loss, the heartbreak. I wanted her to pay. She would lose everything, her home, her security, her life. She would be alone, ruined, abandoned, just like she deserved. I was going to make sure of it. Part 4. I didn't see Sarah for weeks after I threw her out. I refused to answer her calls, deleted her texts without reading them, ignored every desperate attempt she made to reach me. She was nothing to me now. Less than nothing. She was a ghost haunting the ruins of the life she destroyed. My lawyer moved fast, filing for divorce and freezing our joint accounts. I wanted her to have nothing. No money, no security, no place to call home. She had taken everything from me, so I was going to take everything from her. I heard from mutual friends that she was staying with a coworker, a woman who felt sorry for her. I almost laughed when I heard it. Did she tell them the truth? Did she tell them how she destroyed her marriage, how she gave herself to another man, how she lied to my face for months? I doubted it. She was too good at playing the victim. I threw myself into work, long hours and late nights, anything to keep from thinking about her, about the love I lost, about the life we were supposed to have. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape her. She was everywhere, in every room of the house, in every memory, in every dream. I hated her, and I hated how much I still loved her. The divorce was brutal, exactly the way I wanted it to be. I fought for everything, the house, the savings, the investments, even the car she used to drive. My lawyer was ruthless, tearing her apart piece by piece, leaving her with nothing. She didn't fight back. She didn't contest a single thing. She just signed the papers, her hands trembling, her face pale. She looked like a ghost, hollow and broken. Good. She deserved to suffer. After the papers were signed, she approached me, her eyes swollen, her body trembling. Jake, please, can we talk? I felt my chest tighten, my anger boiling. We have nothing to talk about. Her face crumbled, her hands shaking. Please. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant for it to go this far. I laughed, bitter and cold. You didn't mean for it to go this far? You didn't mean to destroy our marriage? You didn't mean to ruin my life? What exactly did you mean to do, Sarah? Her shoulders sagged, tears streaming down her face. I was lost. I was stupid. I was lonely, and he made me feel special. I know it's not an excuse, but I never stopped loving you. I never stopped wanting you. My chest tightened, my heart breaking all over again. You never stopped loving me? You were sleeping with him, giving yourself to him, lying to my face, and you never stopped loving me. She sobbed, her body trembling. I know. I know I was selfish. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I can't live without you. I can't. Please, don't leave me. I felt a cold rage boiling inside me, my hands shaking. You should have thought of that before you chose him. You should have thought of that before you destroyed me. She crumbled before me, her body collapsing, her sobs echoing through the empty room. I hate myself. I hate what I did. I hate who I became, but I love you. I always loved you. I never stopped. I felt my heart shatter all over again, my chest tight, my vision blurred. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. But I couldn't. Not after everything she did. Not after every lie, every betrayal. I don't believe you. I don't believe anything you say. You're a liar, Sarah. A manipulative, selfish liar. And I want you out of my life. She looked up at me, her face twisted with pain, her eyes swollen. Where am I supposed to go? I have nothing, nowhere, no one. I felt nothing. No sympathy, no pity, no love. She was nothing to me now. That's not my problem. You should have thought about the consequences before you cheated. You made your choice. Now live with it. She reached out, her hands trembling. Please. Jake, don't do this, please. I'll do anything. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I'll be anything you need me to be. Just don't leave me. Don't walk away. I stepped back, her touch burning my skin. You're pathetic. You destroyed everything we built, everything we dreamed of. And now you're crawling back, begging for forgiveness? You don't deserve it. You don't deserve me. You deserve to be alone. Her face crumbled, her body shaking. I can't do this without you, please. I can't live like this. I can't live without you. I looked down at her, this broken, hollow woman on the floor, begging for my forgiveness. I used to love her. I used to worship her. But now all I felt was disgust. You should have thought of that before you destroyed me. You made your bed. Now lie in it. I turned away, my body trembling, my heart shattered. I heard her cry out, her voice broken, desperate. But I didn't stop. I didn't look back. If I did, I would break. And I couldn't let her break me again. I walked out, her sobs echoing through the empty building. But I didn't care. She was nothing to me now. She was just another person who betrayed me. Just another liar who ruined my life. I heard through the grapevine that she was struggling. She lost her job, her friends, her reputation. No one wanted to be associated with her, the woman who destroyed her marriage for a fling. Her parents were ashamed, barely speaking to her. She was alone, abandoned, ruined. Good. She deserved to suffer. She deserved every ounce of pain, every moment of loneliness, every piece of misery. She ruined my life, destroyed my heart, shattered my soul. I wanted her to hurt, to be destroyed, to be as broken as she made me. And she was. She was nothing now. Just a shadow, just a memory, just a ghost. And I felt nothing. Part 5. Months passed, and Sarah became nothing more than a ghost haunting my past. I moved on with my life, rebuilt the pieces she shattered, forced myself to forget her. I sold the house, our house, and bought a new place on the other side of town. I didn't want any memories of her, didn't want to see her face every time I walked through the door. I wanted a fresh start, free from her lies, her betrayal. People talked. They whispered about the divorce, about how she destroyed everything, about how she lost everything. No one respected her anymore. Her friends abandoned her, unwilling to be associated with someone so cruel, so heartless. Her parents were ashamed, barely speaking to her. She was alone, completely and utterly alone. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she was living in a rundown apartment, barely scraping by. She lost her job after word got out about her affair. Her boss didn't want the scandal, didn't want the drama. No one did. She became toxic, unwanted, forgotten. Good. It's what she deserved. She destroyed my life, ruined my future, shattered my heart. I wanted her to feel the same pain, the same emptiness, the same misery. And she was. She was suffering. And I felt nothing. I never heard from her again. Not a call, not a text, not a letter. It was as if she disappeared off the face of the earth. Sometimes, I wondered where she was, what she was doing if she was with him. But I pushed those thoughts away. She was nothing to me now. Just a distant memory of a woman who used to be my everything. Then, one evening, I ran into her by accident. I was coming out of a restaurant downtown, laughing with some friends, feeling like myself for the first time in months. I was happy. Really, genuinely happy. And then I saw her. She was sitting on a bench across the street, her shoulders slumped, her hair tangled, her face pale. She looked broken, hollow. She was thinner, her clothes wrinkled, her eyes sunken. She was a shell of the woman I used to know, a shadow of the woman I used to love. She looked up, her eyes meeting mine. For a moment, I saw the spark, the light that used to be there. But then it was gone, replaced by pain, by regret, by shame. She looked away, her shoulders trembling, her body sagging. She looked defeated. I watched her for a moment, my chest tight, my heart aching. She looked so lost, so alone. I wondered where she was living, if she was eating, if she had anyone left in her life. But then I remembered everything she did, every lie she told, every betrayal. And the sympathy faded, replaced by anger, by disgust. She deserved this. She did this to herself. I turned away, my hands shaking, my chest hollow. I walked to my car, my friend's laughter ringing in my ears, my mind spinning. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to feel nothing. But I didn't. I felt pain. I felt sadness. I felt loss. I drove home in silence, my heart heavy, my mind replaying the image of her broken, hollow face. She was suffering. She was ruined. She was nothing, just like she deserved. But I didn't feel better. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt empty. I thought ruining her would heal me. I thought making her suffer would take away my pain. But it didn't. It didn't change anything. I was still broken. I was still hurting. I was still haunted by everything we lost. I tried to move on, to push her out of my mind, to forget her. But I couldn't. She was everywhere, in every memory, in every dream, in every thought. I hated her, but I also missed her. I missed the woman she used to be, the woman I thought she was, the woman I loved. I heard months later that she moved away, disappearing without a word. No one knew where she went. No one cared. She was forgotten, abandoned, erased. Just a ghost haunting the life she destroyed. Just a memory of a woman who ruined everything. I stood in my new house, staring at the blank walls, the empty rooms, the life I built without her. I had everything, a good job, good friends, freedom. I had everything except her. I sank to the floor, my chest tight, my heart breaking all over again. I thought destroying her would heal me. But it didn't. It just left me empty, hollow, alone. I lost her. I lost us. I lost everything. And even after everything she did, after all the pain, all the lies, all the betrayal, I still loved her. But she was gone. And she was never coming back. The end.